there is no way that he just said this. Is Harrison Smith has said one of the most exciting things I think I've ever heard as a Vikings fan about JJ McCarthy. We got to break that down, as well as a very interesting thing that ultimately, as unfortunate as it is, benefits the Minnesota Vikings here for this season. We're going to be breaking down a lot of news here today, ladies and gentlemen, but we have to get into this. Before we do, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We have a lot of Vikings news to cover, but when we head to this season, we know that just over 90% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot for all of your Minnesota Vikings news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button. Join me and Griffin here on the channel. We're covering everything Minnesota Vikings. But let's get first into this Harrison Phillips news. What he had to say about JJ McCarthy, because genuinely, this is insane, and I want to know what you guys think about this. So, pulling up first, JJ McCarthy. Let's just get a little look, where we're at right now before we hop into this Harrison Phillips quote. Keep an eye on the height, the size, and what we've heard about JJ McCarthy as a person, as a player so far in this team, okay? Keep that in mind. So, let's get straight into it here. Let's hop into our first quote here from Harrison Phillips. I've commented before about how he came to me week after his injury to try and learn more about the defense, Phillips said. Asking those great questions, he really stepped up on a personal power role this year. In the locker room, I'm constantly seeing him go up to new guys, to new players, dapping each other up, sitting on the couches, and just having conversations. Okay, yeah, we expected this out of JJ McCarthy. Get into it. We saw that last year in his time when he was with the team near the end of the season after his injury. But this is what really comes into a big thought in my mind. This is what Harrison Phillips had to say. Where last year it was off to rehab, off to meetings. He understands that we've built a family here, and that you can't have unique results without unique relationships. And then, man, he's got some confidence, Phillips added, and reminds me of Josh Allen when I was with him in Buffalo, coming into his own and understanding the power that he has to lead this organization, and he's doing a fantastic job at that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. Harrison Phillips just compared JJ McCarthy, not necessarily in playing, not necessarily in this, but confidence, what they've seen from him so far, because we haven't seen him yet in the field, to Josh Allen, one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL. Now, that's why I wanted to show that first little bit there of JJ McCarthy, because when you go and look at this, 6'3", 197, going to Josh Allen, 6'5", 237, definitely a bit of a bigger size than Josh Allen, but even on the field, this is something I want to compare, because looking at the way that Josh Allen has played, we've had a phenomenal look at him over the past few years, saw some unbelievable games and insane plays between him, the rest of the NFL, and also, we can't forget, that game against the Vikings there, I believe it was 2 years ago, what a game that was. But looking at these two, the comparisons are really coming in together now that Harrison Phillips really had said that. And yet, it's still hard to say, we haven't seen him on the field yet, so you can't so much as say on the field they are very similar players just yet. But we hope we can say that at least come halfway through this season. But as the experience that we saw from a young Josh Allen when he was emailing college coaches saying that, just take a chance on me, that is the type of persona, the type of confidence in themselves that we've been able to see so far in JJ McCarthy. And even though he got out last season due to that meniscus injury, it didn't put him down any. He was ready to come into this team. He was with the team last year, learning as much as he could. And as you saw Harrison Phillips say, he shows that confidence. He was in the room. He was off to rehab, of course, but he'd be back there building relationships and being that player's quarterback that this entire team has wanted to see. This is absolutely unbelievable to kind of continue to hear. And I'm still kind of, not in shock, but still so excited about hearing Harrison Phillips say this. And we also have another one here from Aaron Jones kind of touching on the same idea. The JJ's a winner. If you look at him from high school through his time in college, he's lost one career game. He came in, and his short time there, he was balling. And I think you can really understand how this kind of connects into that idea of a Josh Allen type player, of that quarterback who wants to command a room, wants to command a team. And I think with the help of Kevin O'Connell, this can certainly become what we are missing and what we are looking for. And I wanted to once again pull up the passing stats here from JJ McCarthy, kind of go over and look about how he's been brought to where he is this so far. I don't even want to say brought, where he's built himself up to in his career this far through college. And you go look at 11, 14, and 15 games and each year, respectively. The yards, phenomenal. Touchdowns, phenomenal. And people rely on him and say that he's, a running back quarterback and that, he can't throw the ball. But I think when you look at these, you look at a 72% completion percentage last year, also compared to his own rushing stats from this year, his most recent years with Michigan, this guy's going to be a dog and really has, not as insane stats as Josh Allen, but it kind of mimics what we're seeing from the two and kind of comparing them to match up with Harrison Phillips had to say. So, this is just unbelievable to go. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below about this. Do you think that Harrison Phillips is making like a logical decision? Do you think that it's fair to say this, that comparing to Josh Allen this early, or you got to wait a little bit to see? Let me know what you think there, but we got to head on to some news that, is not obviously not what we want to hear across the NFL as a football fan. We don't want to hear about injuries, but it's something that affects the Minnesota Vikings regardless, so we need to touch on this and go over it. But the Indianapolis Colts tweeted this out. Per Shane Steichen, quarterback Anthony Richardson is dealing with a shoulder injury that will not make him not participate in minicamp next week, and this was the same shoulder that he hurt last year, and as we know, we had a quarterback last year by the name of Daniel Jones, who ultimately was supposed to be on this team, but left to go get a full-time role, and, you can't blame him for that. But now that Anthony Richardson's hurt, he went to the Colts. Who's their starting quarterback? Is it going to be Daniel Jones? As of right now, that is who it is, and with him being gone to the Colts, there will be a compensatory pick coming back to the Vikings if he plays a certain amount of games. And right now, Aaron Jones is set to get the Vikings a 5th-round compensatory pick. It could elevate to a 4th-round pick, which could end up being around 40 spots higher. That kind of draft capital is huge. Now, when we go, obviously, once again, hopefully Anthony Richardson stays healthy. He is supposed to be one of these quarterbacks that are going to be phenoms, a unicorn in the game. And he's really not been able to stay healthy, so prayers up to him. Hopefully he does stay healthy. Hopefully this is just something that is going to be nagging for a few days and he'll get back because he is a phenomenal quarterback. We saw how much Kevin O'Connell meant to him and how much he means to Kevin O'Connell. But when it comes down to this pick, if we do see Daniel Jones play more than enough snaps and more games and ultimately meet the criteria to get up into this 4th-round pick, which is, as you see in there, nearly 40 spots higher in the draft, this is going to be huge for the Vikings, who are looking to come back next year with more picks, definitely more picks than what they had this year, and also being able to either make those picks or move them. We saw this year, of course, the draft only just passed, so we don't want to get into this too early and say that any picks will be good, because we know the Vikings are going to be an elite team this year, a playoff team, a deep playoff team, hopefully, and when you're going into the picks, the Vikings are looking at quite a few this year compared to many other teams who are of this caliber, of this ability of, being a team that is going to be going deep in the playoffs, and this just gives, once again, the Vikings another opportunity to go out here and make a big splash in any additions at the trade deadline or in the draft, whatever they want to do. But, it's big, it's important to have a pick like this, a 4th-round pick, get given to the team for something like that, where Daniel Jones was likely not going to stay, but ultimately did leave, get that pick. So I just want something to say that, and keep an eye on this, because when you look at these, quite a few assets to be able to move, pick next year's draft. And of course, whether or not this be the 32nd pick, let's hope it is, because that means we win the Super Bowl. But this is going to be a big thing to keep an eye on for the Vikings throughout this season if you do see Daniel Jones pop into a game with the Indianapolis Colts. But once again, do hope that Anthony Richardson stays healthy, but it is just something to keep an eye on. So let me know what you think about all of this news here. We had a lot of stuff today come out, and we're going to get closer now to that stuff near the beginning of the season, where we're getting more and more and more news come out. So be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already and you're looking for all of that Vikings news. We have it right here as it happens. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.